It's interesting you mentioned DGG because that is exactly where we were eventually
You're not the man.
going
I'm the man.
with this topic. Bovada put out some odds if the Cavs are to trade Darius Garland this summer. I just wanted to get your quick reaction on the teams favored to land Darius before I pivot to a target that has not been mentioned enough yet when it comes to potential Darius Garland trades. But according to Bovada, the 5 teams with the best odds to land Darius if the Cavs were to move on from their all-star point guard are the Magic, plus 170, the Celtics, plus 275.
That one surprised me.
What?
The Timberwolves at 450, the Lakers at plus 500, and the Spurs at plus 700. I have no idea how Bovada comes up with these odds.
What?
But I did want to just give you guys a chance to react to it very quickly because they seem way off to me.
I know. I thought the same thing. I mean, the Celtics, I was one. I'm like, wait, what is that trade? Who's involved in that trade?
Well, Bobby Marks mentioned a Drew Holiday deal, and because that was mentioned, I think that is the tie to the Celtics. But
Man, look, I'm not.
Yeah.
All right. So let me just say this. I ain't the biggest Darius Garland fan, right, in terms of championship caliber stuff, right? He's a very good player. He's an all-star, right? But I'm not about to get fleeced, though. You're not going to fleece me, though. You know, I'm like Drew Holiday and what else?
That's right.
Like Drew and what else? Listen, how old is Darius Garland?
he's 25.
Oh, stop playing with me. You're going to have to come with something else with that, dog.
I
am not about to trade Darius Garland to somebody else so they can win. Why am I trading you to the
Especially
Celtics?
the Celtics, the team you're trying to get over.
Why they put him in their little system?
Well, they gave Boston Kyrie back in the day.
Yeah, they did.
That's true.
They did.
But when that happened, I think that everybody knew that was it.
Yeah.
Didn't they? Like at that point, what are you?
I hated that trade.
I did too. Everybody did. It didn't make sense then.
I'm like, bro, you was just battling.
Makes
Boston.
even less sense today.
And I like Suggs.
Oh, God.
But here's the thing. I mean, do you really want like Banchero and Wagner, and then you're gonna give them Garland? They can't score, but now they can.
Yeah, Orlando needs point guard.
Look,
I think there's a couple different ways to look at this, and I do think you're not going to give them away, and I don't think you should trade them at all. Frankly, I don't think you break up the backcourt, but I do think when you're talking about Cavs trades and you're talking about what makes sense, what doesn't, I think you have to look at this under the premise of it's a 2-year window. That's it.
Yeah.
So would you? And I'm not advocating. I am not advocating trading Darius for a 35-year-old Drew Holiday. I'm not.
Yeah, no.
But I do think you have to look at this as you can't be afraid to take on age because age may be what this roster needs. They need some veteran. We just got done talking about LeBron didn't want to play with kids and all the veterans that they brought in. So I do think that there's merit to that. And I think you have to look at this under the lens of you have 2 years before this roster is going to look dramatically different anyway. So operate under that. I don't see any world where you keep this roster intact, this nucleus intact for some 5, 6, 7-year magical run. It's not going to happen under the NBA rules. So operate under the lens of, okay, you have 2 years to win a championship anyway. So I still don't know if a trade is out there that makes a ton of sense, but I do think it's important to have that context to it.
Okay, so let me give you this. I mean, so when you say the roster looks dramatically different, I want to drill down on that. So in 2 years, who you telling me is gone?
Potentially everyone but Evan.
Whoa, what you mean?
Well,
bring that back.
what's Donovan
He
has
said
what?
potentially, and
What you mean?
Well, he said potentially everyone, and we're talking 2 years from now, right?
So not next season.
And not the next
another
season,
then
but the season after.
Okay.
In today's NBA,
That's a
a
lifetime.
decade.
Yes,
That's a
it
decade.
is.
Okay.
And Mike's not wrong. I think potentially it could be everyone but Evan Mobley.
I hear a lot of people saying, well, I'm not going to trade a 25-year-old for a 35-year-old. I know that. And I'm like, okay, I hear you. But I do think that you need to look at this under the context of you have 2 years to win because of the second apron. They will not be a second apron team, I don't think, 3 years in a row. So for that reason, I guess it's 4 years in a row. They won't be a second apron team 4 years in a row. So for that reason, Donovan's new contract begins, I think 3 years? How many more years is he under?
So he has 2 years this season and next season. Then he has a player option and then he's an unrestricted free agent.
So you operate under the assumption he's going to decline the player option and get back into free agency. That's why he set up his last contract the way that he did.
He'll be what, 31?
He'd be 31 entering that season, which means he has a chance for one more mega contract.
And you don't want to know where that starting salary is for him at that point. $65 million. Where is that going?
Darius Garland's contract.
They're all on the same line, I believe.
So
what's Darius have?
Darius he signed the 5-year, $200 million extension. He has 3 years left.
3 left?
So his contract ends the same year Donovan's does if Donovan accepts the player option.
Donovan's a player option, and Darius is locked in. Evan, you've got full control of his max doesn't kick in until next season. Jarrett just signed the extension. He's got one more year at $20 million, and then he's got what, 2 years or 3 years after that?
3 years at 30.
You know, we throw these numbers around all the time, but we really rarely do we actually stop and think about that number.
Oh no,
and that's 1 year.
Yeah.
And then we say, man, these guys are soft. Well, imagine, G, if you had enough money to buy anything you wanted, anything. You want a private jet? You can do that. You want a helicopter? You can do that. And it's almost a miracle that some of these guys stay top tier hungry because they have everything.
I had that conversation. I was doing something on Kareem for The Athletic on Top 75, and I was talking to Pat Riley, and we were talking about LeBron, and I said, I don't think anyone will ever break his record. Points, scoring. I think this will last forever because there is so much money that these guys make now. There is no incentive to stick around this long.
None.
To the amount of years that you would have to take.
It's for personal accolades.
By the way, the meter is still rolling. He's still adding to this.
Playing at an all-star clip.
Yeah.
Still.
Yeah.
So he's going to put distance between. It'd be like if today the best pitcher in baseball retires with 400 wins.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good luck catching them.
Put it like this: at the top of the food chain, I watch a lot of Kobe videos. And a lot of Kobe videos, he talks about that, like the chase, and the chase doesn't necessarily have to do with anybody on the outside. It's the chase on the inside. Anybody that's really great at what they do.
Yeah, they want to be the best.
If you stop, like Joe Thomas said, if you stop today, there's nothing left. And usually, and I'll give people an insight out there, even when you make a certain amount of money, like it don't even got to be millions. There's a certain level of money you get to where within reason, you don't have to worry about how you pay your rent, what car you drive, gas in the car, retirement. You don't think about any of that.
Right.
And then at that point, life really starts. Because then it's just like...
Now you can enjoy it.
Or now you can think, well, was I just racing to get to this point? Now what does it mean? Because now when you wake up, you're not waking up because I have to do it. I'm waking up because I want to.
Or I get to. Yeah.
And those are the real things you start to look around and say, oh, wow, this is...
But for most, the difference is there's no real physical demand on that job.
Right. There's
the guy that's laying pavement probably doesn't have a couple million laying around.
Just chilling.
Now the guy that does probably used this and not this. And this gets tired. And when it does... If you've got 100 million, if you're a Garland level player, I certainly hope his personal worth is at least $50 million. At least.
Oh, what do you mean?
Well, a lot of people think they hear those numbers and they're like, oh man, he must have $100 million.
They don't.
Well, it's, tax gets half, agent gets a tenth.
They don't.
So it goes fast, and it is tough to accumulate it to get to that point. But my point there is, at some point, this gets tired and this does not. So if you can use this, I've got a friend I play ball with. He's 70. He's a lawyer. He won't stop. He still works as a lawyer. And I ask him all the time, why? And he goes, because I can. It doesn't hurt anything for me to do it. Doesn't hurt my body. I'm exercising my mind, and I thoroughly enjoy my job.
My father-in-law was a surgeon. He operated until 70.
That's amazing.
He loved it. He loved it. He's like, why would I quit? I love it.
Yeah, but for these guys, like we'll sit here and say they're soft. Well, at the end of the day, when they turn off the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, you know what Jarrett Allen hears?
Nothing.
His bank account getting bigger every single day. That's what he hears. He doesn't hear us saying, "Oh, bro, he's got to take the shot. He's got to play harder in the playoffs."
To some people,
he's like, "Yeah, no, I'm good."
To some people, they just have God-given ability, and to some people, they have God-given ability and they figure this is the only way I'm gonna get it. And for some of those people, it's very rare to find that percentage of them that will go to the nth degree and the money does not matter or doesn't. It's just hard to find.
Because LeBron's had enough forever, but he keeps going. Woody Hayes famously said, "You win with people." And now, look, it was easy. He had 110 scholarships back then. He didn't get just the best running back in Ohio. He got the 5 best running backs. And it kept them from going to any other school, which was why football was a 8-team race back then. But he's right. His premise is right. You win with people. This is how I would draft if I were a general manager. And obviously talent has something to do with it. My biggest tiebreaker is how bad you want to win. Mm-hmm. Are you willing to punch me in the face to beat me? Because I'm probably going to think about punching you in the face if it means that's what I have to do to beat you.
Yes.
And I want guys that above everything else, I want gym rats. I want, this, I want that. I want durability. I want all those things. But to me, the tiebreaker is how badly do you want to win? And I see one guy on this Cavs roster that I think wants to win more than he wants to do anything else.
And that goes
outside of that, I don't know what it looks like.
That goes back to what we're talking about at the NFL with scouting and with finding guys. You don't know the answer to that until it's too late.
It's too late.
Until he's in the building.
What you got, McNuggets?
I guess, but you can do your due diligence on it. They're college coaches that were with them for a period of time. They're going to know. They're going to tell you, this guy does all the little things to be great. He wants to win. Yeah. He wants to win as badly as anyone I've ever seen. I used to say that about my son. Corey was a gifted athlete, but was he the best long jumper in the United States of America on God's gifts? No. He was among the best, but what made him elite? This. Yep. That kid just wanted to win more than he wanted his next breath.
Yep. Go ahead.
And I want guys like that. Give me guys like that, and we're going to be okay.
Yep.
So to get this back to kind of where we started and to push it forward, later in the week we're going to do a giant Darius Garland trade options segment. We'll do a Jarrett Allen trade
with specific players, not teams?
With specific players.
Okay.
I sent like 25 trades off to my cap guy. He's going to run through them, make sure they're cap compliant. So if they're not, we can take them out because I don't want to put out trades that don't actually work.
Right.
So we'll do that later.
All right, Bill Simmons does it all the time.
I know
he does.
We try to do better than Bill. We try to do better than Bill. But when I saw these odds yesterday for Darius Garland, and Steve, I'm going to take these again, I was like, the team that stands out as the most logical potential fit wasn't on there. And then another report came out from Kevin O'Connor of Yahoo that said everyone on the Pelicans is not considered untouchable. And if that's the case, if you're going to take that report at face value that New Orleans is open to moving any parts of their roster, there's one guy to me that stands out. And we've seen a lot of bad Darius Garland trades thrown around on the interweb. Some trades that don't make sense for financial reasons, some trades that don't make sense for basketball reasons. To Jason's point, to kind of what G was saying, you're not just going to give Darius away for the sake of giving Darius away. He's clearly a valuable asset. But there's one guy I found that if he is actually available, I think would probably be the best player you get back in return for a Darius Garland. And G, I'm not sure you're super familiar with him. He's a little of an unknown guy. But have you ever heard of Trey Murphy?
Yes.
If anyone's unfamiliar with Trey Murphy, just watch 30 seconds of these highlights here. 6'8", 220 pounds, scored 21.5 points per game last year on 37% shooting from beyond the arc, 46% from the floor. Comes from a Virginia background. Just signed an incredibly team-friendly deal for the next 4 years. And I think he is the best player that Cleveland could turn Darius into in a realistic trade. A team that's not a second apron team, a team that is in need of a creator. DeJounte Murray's coming off an Achilles injury. It's not a perfect fit with C.J. McCollum. Granted, I understand it's not an ideal
I'm not
fit
familiar
there,
with this dude, but I love everything I'm seeing right now.
I am, but why?
He's got deep range with three.
Why is he on the block like that?
Well, I don't know that he's on the block, but he's not off the block, right?
Exactly. According to Kevin
because I'm not giving this guy. I'm not giving this guy.
Listen, if
Look
I'm
at this. I'm not trading that guy.
If I'm running New Orleans, he's an untouchable to me. But
yeah, you're not getting him.
He's not. If they are looking to completely rebuild down to the studs,
what the heck? Look at
he's
this.
probably their most valuable trade asset.
Look at this.
When you said a Virginia background, did he play at Virginia?
He did.
Oh, hell no.
Let's just reassemble the whole Virginia team. It worked at college.
He actually was DeAndre Hunter's replacement at Virginia.
Oh, okay,
Hunter
so they weren't there
graduated-
together.
No, they weren't there together.
Look,
no.
I'm not going to lie. I'm completely unaware
He
of
was a
this
lottery
guy.
pick. He's 24 years old. He was a 16th overall pick. He's gotten better every year he's been in the league. Went from averaging 5 points to 12 points to 14 to 21.5 this year.
And your backcourt finally gets some size to it.
Yes.
Jason Lloyd, listen.
Get
All
them on the phone right now.
Talk to your guy.
That ain't happening.
This is clickbaity. I don't like this. Why would you show me this stuff on Prime TV and get me all excited?
Because who else do they need?
He got
who
wiggle.
else can we give them?
He got wiggle,
It'd be a
bounce, he
Garland
can
package.
shoot. What the heck
It'd
is
be
this?
a 1-for-1.
Garland makes too much money.
Because
to
I
go
got a lot of
1-for-1.
real Garland that I would throw in to make the deal pretty,
No,
and they can have that too.
They'd have
at
to,
this.
They'd have to give you a little more salary back
Look at this.
to make it even.
He's bullying people, dunking backwards. Dude,
But it would give Cleveland a level of athleticism
Talk to your
they
man.
don't currently have on the wing at 6'8".
Man, these
He's
awesome
been a better
Cavs guys.
defender, and I think he's a guy. Last thing on
This
him,
dude's
then I'll let you guys go.
legit.
His highlights are crazy. He's doing this on a team that had no offensive
Well-
identity. I think he could be even better in an actual
He's
system
pulling
like
up from
Cleveland.
5 feet behind the arc.
He got a Monty Bates range.
Stop it.
Oh, stop it.
Yeah, listen.
I've had to deal with Baker and Amani on the same
He
day.
has the range of Monty Bates thinks he has.
No,
Hey,
it's verifiable.
Hey, if Jay's making rules, we're not talking about Browns quarterbacks. I'm not talking about Amani Bates. that's the new rule.
I'll co-sign that rule. I will.
You want to
No, listen.
Here's the issue.
That is
all right,
clickbait because now Mike's going to get us all excited
No,
about this
here-
guy, and
here's-
there's no way they're trading him.
Well,
By the way, last thing, Jason, before any you say is clickbait, if you go back to last offseason, when I said who's my dream target for the Cavs, it was that guy. And then
Before
had
he started
even
putting
better
21 up.
season,
Mike needs
got
to be a damn
contract.
general manager is what Mike needs to be.
Well,
Why are you messing
He
around
was a
producing
first
the
round
show?
pick, so it's not like he came out of nowhere. But
the Pelicans just fired David Griffin.
Great.
There are, you could count, I saw this debate earlier. You could count up to 13 teams in the West that are trying to win next year. You know,
Wow.
one of the two that aren't, those
New
guys.
Orleans,
So why would they trade him? How does Darius Garland make them better? He clearly makes the Cavs better, but I don't see how Darius makes them better. Last year, I think, the Pelicans were trying to be in a little bit more of a win now mode, or at least trying to with Zion and with Griff there and everything else. I think they're looking at a full-blown rebuild now, and I don't know. I mean, listen, he'd be a great fit.
How's
on
his
this team.
defense, Mike?
he was a very good defender when he wasn't asked to be as much of an offensive creator. His defense took a
Because he
step
wouldn't
back.
need to be that offensive creator here.
No, he's capable of being a really good defender. He's capable.
Okay, that's I would want to know that. He seems rangy.
I don't know why New Orleans would make that deal.
I
I don't
don't
know how
either.
they get better. New Orleans, if
That's why G's right. It's clickbait because
You
he's going to
would-
get us
you-
all excited. Look at that.
you would want to get in return a bounty of picks and young players for him because he's only 24.
And we really can't do that, right?
No, they have no picks.
Yeah.
They have no picks. They're next.
Look at that.
You know what Mike did? Mike put a piece of cake in front of a fat kid and pulled it right back from him.
They
That's what you
said
did.
everybody on the roster is not considered untouchable.
Yeah, but that
If
doesn't mean
he's
the
not
Cavs have the
considered
pieces.
Yeah,
untouchable-
but
Go
I
get
mean, so every other team's going to want this guy too.
I didn't say it's likely going to happen. I said I think he's the best realistic candidate
Well,
that would be on the market.
Don't put
you
that
could get.
cake in front of a fat kid.
I mean, the only way to even have some sort of realistic conversation about that it would have to be a 3-team deal in another team.
Yeah, I guess you could do that.
Because I don't know how.
How you make
Which
it?
can you even do a 3-team on a second apron team? I don't even know the answer to that.
Oh wow, I hadn't heard that you couldn't.
It's a great idea, and I don't know the answer. I can text the cap guy.
I got
Hold
Jared
on.
Allen there.
I'll do
too.
my best.
We gonna do this. If I feel like if you with the second apron, you might want to get in before the credit report gets you. Oh, you bought
Buy
a
the
house?
boat before the-
Yeah, right.
Oh, before y'all go finalize that house, I gotta get some furniture too. Let me go hit y'all up now.
Throw in another 50 for that.
Because when this hit this credit score with this FICO score,
We're gonna be a problem.
28% interest.
Well, when
You'll
Trey
never
Murphy
see
gets
this.
traded for something.
Well, that's what the
just
second
remember-
apron is, right?